Welcome everyone to our annual live recording of our Editors in Conversation podcast. We're very happy to see everyone here today. My name is Ellie Thiel. I'm an editor at JCM and co-host for the podcast. And today I am excited to be surrounded by editor-in-chiefs of, of the Journal of Clinical Microbiology, past and present. So neither one of them really needs
Ellie?
an introduction.
Don't you mean present and future?
Past and present.
I'm not done yet. I've got 9 days.
He's got like 9 days. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, we might have to restart the recording. Thank you, Alex, for your correction, but we will carry on. But regardless of how we name them, neither one of them really needs an introduction, but we'll still introduce them. So we have Dr. Alex McAdam, who is chief of the Department of Lab Medicine at Boston Children's Hospital, and he just is almost ready to finish his 10-year stint as editor-in-chief of JCM. And he's really done an incredible job of moving the journal forward into the future. And he's had a number of achievements, just a few of which I'm going to quickly list off. So he really raised the profile of JCM during his 10 years as editor-in-chief. It's now ranked number 23 or 23rd out of 161 microbiology-related journals, which is amazing. He also led the journal through the COVID-19 pandemic and the what felt like millions of COVID-related papers that came through that all of the editors did an amazing job of reviewing. He and a number of editors launched the Innovative Diagnostic Methods section at JCM, and he launched and was the first co-host of this, first singular host of the podcast, which has done pretty darn well, I think.
It's gotten a lot better since you joined.
Thanks. So yes, Alex, thank you from all of us for all the mentorship and the leadership from the journal. Or for the journal. So it's been wonderful. All right. With Alex's departure to new pastures, including like being the incoming ASM president.
Just small things that he's moving on to.
That's right. Small leadership positions. We have a new JCM editor-in-chief that we are excited to welcome, Dr. Romney Humphries.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi. So Dr. Humphries is the director of the Division of Laboratory Medicine and the medical director of the microbiology laboratory at Vanderbilt. She's also a professor of pathology, microbiology, and immunology. She's an absolute powerhouse in the world of AST, as we know. And as of this month, in 9 days, she will be the new JCM editor-in-chief. So congratulations again, Romney.
Thank you. Big shoes to fill, I have to say. So, but I've had a great mentor, and so I'm excited to start.
It's great. We are excited to work with you. So with the passing of the torch, today we thought we'd talk a little bit about Romney's kind of vision for the future of JCM. So Romney, a couple of questions for you. So on the screen, we have the current scope of the journal, and it really focuses on diagnostic testing, new technologies, alongside, of course, AST, diagnostic stewardship, and so on. So the question for you is, do you foresee reshaping the scope of JCM in any way?
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. So I think JCM really has, under Alex's leadership, developed an international reputation as being the journal for diagnostic clinical microbiology. So this spans kind of the breadth of everything that we do in our day-to-days. And so the small changes that we're looking at for scope, one is to look at microorganism, not pathogenesis per se, but more microorganism clinical associations. And so this is something, I don't know about, you guys, but I get asked a lot, hey, you just isolated a name the weird bug I've never heard of before. What does it mean? What do we do with this? And so I think that this is a real opportunity for us to start pulling in those experiences and stories into the journal. We do a little bit of this now, even though it's not technically in our scope. And really, if you look across ASM journals, there's a hole for where this type of paper might go. So that's one big thing that we'll be adjusting. So then the other, and you're very familiar with this, we'll be looking at starting a new section for the journal that really focuses in on diversity, inclusion, equity, access. And so this is something that we saw in the pandemic quite a bit, that unfortunately, even though we were all doing our best to develop, the best tests for COVID, getting patients access to those tests, there were pretty big disparities in the availability of these tests for different patients. And so I know you do a lot of research in this area. And so we really hope to attract those papers to the journal as well.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting addition to the journal. One thing from my work, mostly internationally, is we have so many lessons learned about what goes well, what doesn't go well, what you should do, how you should approach international like lab equity type projects. And there's no place to publish what we've learned. So I think that's, this new area is one place that we can bring all of that knowledge that a lot of us have gathered and publish it for others to use and learn from. So I think it's a great new addition.
I think these are great innovations. And what role will Ellie have in the new focus?
Thank you for
Romney,
bringing that up.
What role will I have?
So Ellie has so graciously agreed to be the editor over this new section of the journal, which I'm just so thrilled about. And so we were joking about it earlier. We still don't have the full nuts and bolts of every single thing that's going to go into this section. But I think it's a really good start to pull these papers in. And, many of us have been to labs in other settings than the one that we practice in. I know I've done a lot of work even visiting community hospitals across the United States and or labs in other countries, and the standards of care are pretty substantially different. And so the question is, how can we innovate? How can we educate? How can we bring the best quality testing to all our patients? So yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm excited.
I think it'll be great. Totally agree. Yeah. So one other kind of area you've talked about in the past is mentorship. And kind of bringing in more editors, more reviewers, and mentoring them to be the best that they can be. Can you talk a little bit about how you foresee doing that?
Yeah, this is a big challenge in publishing right now. It's recruiting really good quality reviewers. We are all so busy. I will say I actually just turned down a request to review this morning, and I felt bad about it, but there's only so much time in any one person's day. And so as we look at how do we pull more folks into the journal and get them exposure to the reviewer opportunities, which then in turn helps them develop their own writing styles, their understanding of the scientific method, all of those good things. What I've been surprised at in the past is as we've reached out to more junior folks, they've always been, I shouldn't say always, but many of them, a surprising number of them, have been a little reluctant. Maybe their sentiment is, this particular paper isn't my exact specific area of interest, so I'm not an expert in this. Or hey, I'm still a fellow. Are you sure you meant to ask me? Did you know I was a fellow? And so what this speaks to, I think, is the opportunity for us to provide tools for these individuals so that they can learn how to first recognize their own worth, right? If you are being asked to do something, the person who is asking you does know who you are and they want you to do it. You are the right person for it. But also help folks just become more efficient with their reviews. I think sometimes we can get caught in the weeds a little bit as reviewers, and I don't think the editors are looking for all of the typos and nuances. We're looking for the big picture. And so that's a skill that people need to learn. So all that to be said, we will be working to develop some reviewer mentorship programs over the next several years. And I hope to get this started this kind of year going into second half of 2025. The reviewer, it really is open to anyone. But the real focus is going to be more on the trainee end and the early career individuals. That being said, I know a lot of more senior folks who just haven't had the opportunity to do it who might want to. So we're not going to exclude anyone, but that's the goal.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, I think we all can benefit from, learning how to do things better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Alex, you're also on the stage, and we've got some questions for you.
Fire away.
As well. So you clearly have had a number of years of experience as editor-in-chief. So question for you is, what would you say are your biggest highlights during your time?
I would say I would mention two things. The first is the work that we did during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, of course, when there was a tremendous surge in submissions to the journal, all around COVID-19. And ASM supplied an additional editor to us, and the editors in the virology section really rallied to handle these papers. And we had tremendous throughput of papers, and I am really proud of what we ended up publishing. So we had the first papers on many of the diagnostic tests. We had the first papers on serologies, on PCRs, on antigen assays. So that gave us a lot of visibility to the public, which was kind of nice because it was part of the public recognizing the field of clinical microbiology. But we also had papers on utilization. So we had early in the pandemic, we didn't know whether we could use saline, for example, instead of viral transport media. And the answer turned out to be yes, and the place where that was published was JCM. We had things about swabs, so there was a lot about the ability to get through the pandemic when everything was in short supply. And then thirdly, we had various commentaries. I remember a commentary I wrote with Matt Pettengill about what we saw as sort of a flawed public health strategy at the time that got a lot of attention and was covered in the Washington Post and the New York Times and so on. And then lastly, the sort of hallmark paper in JCM from that era is that we published the first paper demonstrating that infection with SARS-CoV-2 confers immune protection. And it was really an open question at the time. And Alex Greninger contacted me and said he had this paper. Could we handle it quickly? We did handle it quickly, but we handled it thoroughly. And it underwent robust peer review, and it has really stood the test of time. So I would point to that as something I'm particularly proud of. The other is the editors and the editorial board and everybody around the journal. I think that we have really elevated the level of expertise at the journal as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And kind of the other question along those lines is, how have you seen the journal change from where you started to where you're handing it over to Romney?
It was a very different journal when I started. And I was looking back at this recently, and I thought, who was this guy that did all this stuff? Because it was a lot. When I started, the journal would have about 40 to 50 research articles per issue, and it would have one mini review or one commentary or one point counterpoint. And we raised the standards for publication in JCM, so it now has between 10 and 20 articles per issue. It has a couple of mini reviews, often a commentary and a point counterpoint. It has the photo quiz, it has the briefcase, so there's a lot more front material in the journal as well. But to me, the hallmark change has been the increase in the stringency for the quality of the papers.
Wonderful. Thank you. And to wrap up, I always like to talk and learn from other people's lessons learned. So what would you kind of share with Romney about the lessons you've learned during your time as editor-in-chief?
Well, Romney does not need my advice.
But I do. I do.
She was chosen for this role because she already has all the skills for the job. But the things that I have learned over time are the importance of cultivating relationships around the journal, relationships with authors, relationships with editorial board members and with editors, because you are going to need them. You need them, right, to give you the material, to do the reviews, to keep things moving along. So that has been very important. Keeping the standards for the journal high. I think has been extremely important. And then the third thing is, and you will do this, I know you will do this because I've seen you do it, innovate boldly. Don't let the past hold you back. If you see things that you want to try, if you want to experiment, if you want to make big changes, think about them carefully, of course, work with the editors, work with the ASM staff to make sure everything is in place. But one of the great things about being an editor-in-chief in ASM journals is you have that latitude to innovate boldly.
That's great advice. Thanks, Alex.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Alex and Romney, for sharing with us your past experiences, your future hopes and dreams for the journal.
I have a question for Romney.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What's the future of the podcast?
Oh, good question. Yeah. So Ellie as well has agreed to stay on as co-host, which I'm just really happy about. So thrilled.
Happy to stay on.
I think we have some complementary skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because, as many people know, Ellie's passion is immunoserology, and I routinely tell my fellows that is voodoo testing. It's not actually real. And
now, let's not be too.
I'm pretty sure if I went in on rounds with Ellie, she might be saying something similar about susceptibility testing.
100%.
So I think it'll be fun.
I think it'll be fantastic, and I'm delighted, Ellie, that you were staying on with the podcast. I think we also have complementary skills because you're charming and funny, and I'm not.
Alex is actually very funny.
Yes, he is, in that very dry, sarcastic way. No, it's been great.
Ellie, working with you has been another great pleasure of working at the Journal. It's been a delight to do the podcast with you.
Ditto. It's been wonderful. Well, again, thank you guys for coming, sharing your insights. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And if you'd like to hear more, see this podcast again, listen to past podcasts, we encourage you to go to asm.org/EIC. Ray told me to say that. And while we're on the topic of Ray, I just want to thank you, Ray, our excellent AV podcast technical specialist. We could not do it without you, so thank you for everything. And we hope everyone enjoys the rest of ASM. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.